Hello, this is Alex Habersham, publisher of the Macon-Bibb, Georgia Black Pages. We've got a sneak preview on www.maconblackpages.com of the 2014 edition. Additionally, coming soon, the Business Consumer Expo of Central Georgia, where we will launch the book, interact with each other, network, and have a great time. Coming soon, the Macon Black Pages Business and Consumer Expo. Be on the lookout for it. I would like to personally encourage everybody to take a minute and just think about the kind of contributions that African Americans are making and have made to our society. Additionally, I encourage you to take a look at the Black Pages, Macon-Bibb, Georgia Blackpages.com, to observe many of the business individuals who are making a contribution to our society. And finally, you can make a difference in our community by supporting those businesses, supporting the community, volunteering in the community, and that way we can make positive history in our We want to say hello to everybody out there in radio, TV, and internet land. I'm so happy to be able to bring this show to you today for a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm interviewing a friend. Secondly, I'm interviewing someone who's concerned about the community. Thirdly, I'm interviewing someone who's going to solicit the help of the community. And fourthly, I'm interviewing someone who can improve the quality of life and the image of our community by virtue of his position. And I guess you say I must be talking about a pretty powerful person. Well, in fact, I am, because I have the pleasure today of interviewing Mr. David Davis, who's the High Sheriff, and I hope he'll accept that, who's the High Sheriff of Bibb County, recently elected sheriff. And we're going to talk today about some of the goings on what's going on in the community. We're going to talk about his position. We're going to talk about the changes. We're going to talk about the merger of both the police and the sheriff department. We're going to talk about what you as citizens can do to help this community. We're going to talk about curbing crime, and we're going to talk also about intervention programs, which I think are important as it relates to making this a better community for us to live. How you doing?
Doing fine, Alex. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir.
Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that you are here.
Yes, sir.
And it's very, very good to see you. Let's just begin with the election.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about your being elected.
Well, I've been sheriff a little over a year now. I was elected in won the primary in 2012, and then my general election opponent, he decided that he wouldn't stay in the race. He backed out.
You scared him out. Huh?
So he got out. So I was elected officially in November of 2012. Came in both me and Consolidation were both elected at the same time.
Right.
As soon as I came into office, we started putting in the plans to merge the law enforcement functions of the Macon Police Department and the Sheriff's Office together. So we've been working on that. Now, as of January 1st of this year, it all came together. So we're proud of that and working forward from it.
Yeah. Well, how's it going? And I'm so happy to be able to interview you, and I'm going to talk to other officials also because it's important to import accurate
That's right.
information. There's been all kind of innuendos about what's going on and who's going to lose their job and how it's going to affect the quality of the safety of the community and things of that nature. So now, I just came by City Hall, and I saw a young man in a police car, but in a uniform that I have not seen before. Now, are they in them?
That's right. We just recently went into our new uniforms. That was one of the things that, we had the good fortune to have a whole year to plan this merger before it actually took effect. The larger government worked on the merging. That was the Consolidation Task Force worked on merging the larger government. Well, I had the responsibility of merging the law enforcement.
Right.
So I had some great people working for me, working with me to get this done. The command staffs of the police department, sheriff's office, they came to the forefront and worked, and we had some special staff members that worked in there. So part of that was getting new uniforms, because we figured the voters wanted, the people wanted a new government, wanted a
Right.
new
Right.
entity, so we wanted to give them new law enforcement.
Right.
So that's why we got the new uniform. We picked that last year, got to working on the colors and the sizing of everybody and getting everybody in it. So now
Right.
we're transitioning into that.
Right.
So it's been
Well,
been very good.
mechanically, how was it? I'm sure that was quite a task to combine, both of those departments, not only from a business angle and an equipment angle, but also a psychological angle. A lot of times people are nervous
Yeah.
about change. So how did that work? How did you pull that off?
Well, it was a challenge, but we had good people doing it, and I always tell people in the law enforcement community, as well as any other community, there's two things that people don't like. That's change and the way things are.
Right.
So you're going to have some people who are going to, they're going to have some concerns. But our first responsibility was to make sure that everyone's position was respected. No one lost a job, except through, we had some people retire and through just normal leaving, but nobody was laid off. We found a place for everyone. The command structure of the police department remained intact. They just became Bibb County deputies. In fact, former Chief Carswell is now my colonel over law enforcement. So basically, he's doing the same job he was doing before. He just has the whole county, but then he has a more support staff and just a larger group to work with. So everyone has done their part, and we've tried to allay any fears. People worrying about where am I going to be. We've tried to put input into that as we built the districts that we have. So the main people that I mean to make feel comfortable and satisfied are the citizens of Bibb County.
Right.
Certainly I want my employees to feel valued and to have a good responsibility and to have a place in the organization. But both myself and them need to realize we're here to serve the public, and the public is our boss. And that's some of the training that we started doing last year for a lot of the police officers. We taught us a little bit different working for a sheriff's office than it is for a police department. You have to remember that the sheriff, your boss, is responsible to the people.
Right.
And that you need to be mindful of that and not go
To
into
all the people.
Yes, and attitude is a big thing, and to have a positive attitude and have a good attitude with the people that we serve and the people that we encounter out on the street.
Absolutely. Now, talk a little bit. I heard you mention the areas jurisdictionally. How does that work? What's the mechanism for where you live and the kind of coverage, say in Pleasant Hill and in East Macon and in North Macon? How does that work?
Well, what we did is we broke the county up into 4 districts. For the most part, sort of following along the same 4 areas that the police department had with their precincts. But, we had substations, the police department had precincts. Well, you have to change it. We have districts now, but it covers, the first district covers East Macon. When you talk about it covers everything from Fort Hill to Kings Park to Dry Branch. District 2 is South Macon. It covers everything from Houston Avenue all the way out to the Ichicana Creek on 247. Our 3rd district is the North District, covers everything from Vineville Avenue to Bass Road to the Monroe County line. And then our 4th district is Western. It covers everything from the mall through Bloomfield, Village Green, all the way out to Lizelle, out to the Crawford County line from that end. So
I'm glad you mentioned Lizelle.
yeah, I know. So that's part of that district, the 4th district. The 4th district. So we're able to use the resources of both agencies and do that more efficiently, to where that every day I hear people saying, "Man, I see more police out there. I see more law enforcement out." That instead of having to staff for 2 agencies, we're staffing for 1, and we can make efficient staffing decisions that way. And so we have been able to put out more officers on the road at any given time.
I'm sure that you have or are going to initiate, certain projects and programs to try to improve the community. The bad thing is that every time there's a crime or something negative that happens in the community, everybody knows about that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it seems that the media is reluctant to publicize,
Right.
all of the many of the positive things that are happening. So, what's your vision of continuing to move the community where public safety is a premium in the community?
Well, that's one of the things, and we have a whole outreach section. We took the what was our junior deputy program and our crime prevention neighborhood watch program and the police departments, what they had with the youth and intervention, and we've combined that and made what I think is a powerhouse unit. We call it the sheriff's outreach section, and they do things like we have the yes, everything is positive, sheriff's outreach. If you take those letters, it's SOS. We're like an SOS to the community. The community sends up the SOS, and we're going to be there to help. So you have that, and then within that we have the yes, which is the youth educational services, which is our where the police department used to have the DARE program, and we had the junior deputy. We have combined those and created a new program called CHAMPS, which stands for Choosing Healthy Activities and Methods Promoting Safety.
Right.
It's a program that we teach in the schools, and we started that last year with the new school year that went in the fall of
I think that's important.
So those are some things that we're moving
if you
forward.
would kind of walk through all 3 of those programs,
Yeah.
because I think that the consuming public
Yeah.
will be interested in getting more information, and also I think it will be positive
Yeah.
for the public to know that you in fact are initiating programs to assist the community.
We sure are, and there's not hardly a weekend that goes by or a week that goes by that our outreach section is not somewhere doing something. We're coming up into the springtime and the fall time, or spring and summer, so there are going to be activities. There will be camps through the summer. We're starting an initiative with the Promise Center over on Anthony Road to do some things over there for that community. So there's all things that we're doing, and we're looking for even more to do. And when we was talking about the youth educational services, we also have one we call the NOD. Notice the positive thing, the neighborhood outreach deputy. That's an officer that goes into the various neighborhoods,
Wow.
talks to the kids, talks to the adults or whatever is going on. Sort of a blending of the neighborhood watch program, and we're building those programs out in the county. We've had several neighborhood watch meetings, group formations, and things. So
Yeah, I was going to ask you about neighborhood watch, but so you will continue that and
certainly
and make changes or what have you.
Most certainly. One of the things that really impressed me about what the police department did, they had a lot of meetings and had a lot of hands-on talking to the people, getting into the communities and having community meetings and things like that. Whereas the sheriff's office was more, because we were sort of spread out, we did a lot of things over the computer. We had the email update program, which was a fantastic program, which continues. But we've taken that expertise along with the actual meeting with people and blended that together and really have built a great organization that we're building up neighborhood watch groups out in various different parts of the county. We have them built some new ones out in the western part of the county, one on the north side. So we're really moving forward with that. And I can't say enough about how dedicated my deputies are at doing these projects.
Is there a mechanism, for example, I don't know where you have all of the neighborhood watch programs, but in the event that there's somebody listening or looking and say, well, hey, I'd like to know more about neighborhood watch, and I would be willing, because, although you all are doing a good job and you're covering more areas, extra eyes
Yeah.
won't, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And extra eyes and mouths won't hurt. So how should one
Well-
learn more information and get involved in that neighborhood watch program?
What they can do is, if they whatever neighborhood that they live in, they can call us at the sheriff's office at 478-746-9441, or they can go to our website bibbsheriff.org and scroll down to where it talks about neighborhood watch. Click on that link, and they can send us an email to say, please add me to your list. I'd like to set up a group. But they pick up that phone, make a call to us, and we'll certainly get them set up with whatever information they need.
All of the shootings and murders and what have you that have gone on in this community are getting a lot of attention. And, I don't know how that compares to other cities or other years. And I don't know everything that contribute and attribute, to what's going on. But as you know, then it gets phenomenal publicity. I had somebody to tell me the other day, a guy from Millersville, said, well, I don't want to come to Macon, there are too many shootings up there. And, that's not generally true, but because of the kind of information when something like that happens, it's spread all over creation. And that's what concerns me, and I'm glad to be able to interview you about the Change program, the YES program, the NOD program, and the SOS programs, because, now I knew nothing about those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until such time that I'm interviewing you. So there are a lot of good things, but let's talk for a minute, if you would, about, crime in the neighborhoods, and then I want to move on, to our young people, and maybe what we can do in the gang thing or what have you. But how are we faring? How are you faring in dealing with it? And I know it's a phenomenal job.
It is. And,
so how are you faring with that?
Well, the officers that are out there, they hit the ground running. We had the incident recently where the 16-year-old young man was killed out in the baseball field over on Anthony Road. Those officers worked on that from it happened around 9 o'clock at night. They worked on that thing until daylight the next morning. Had suspects identified. We had an arrest made yesterday. We had another arrest yesterday afternoon or Monday afternoon. So it's very they're very dedicated and very quick to work. But whenever we talk about the number and the perception, I was looking at some statistics, and over the last few years, between the city of Macon and Bibb County, there's probably been around 20 homicides. If you took the city and the county together, maybe 21, 22 homicides per year over the last 3 or 4 years. And it's gone up and down, but not very many, more or less than that over the last year. But if you go back to the late 80s, early 90s, mid 80s, we had nearly 40 homicides in Macon during those years. And so but if you ask people, do you feel safer now than you did in, say, 1990? They're going to say, oh, man, 1990, that was a good old days. We were safe. Yeah. But there were nearly 40 homicides back in those years. So but you're right. Anytime those things happen, it does garner a lot of public publicity. It garners a lot of concern and talk in the community. And certainly that's one of our responsibilities, to address that and to solve them. When it happens, our people are going to be out there. We're going to find out who did it, and we're going to solve it. Speaking to the larger community, we all have a role to play to make a difference where we can.
Let me ask you a question. Let's talk about these young people shooting. Is there a common thread, that runs through all of these incidents? In other words, is there a profile, or is there something that we as a community can do to help or to look out for, or anything of that nature?
Well, a lot of them are young. We find a lot of them are raised by maybe their grandparents, or maybe either a single parent or either their grandparents that are raising them. they're largely African American, younger. They some of them are in school, some of them have dropped out of school. A lot of them are the economic opportunities for both them and their parents or their grandparents are not as much as it is for other people. And they congregate or they associate with people who I guess they feel despair or they feel like that there's no hope for them. So whenever you have a situation like that, when you feel like nobody cares anything about you, there's really no hope for your future, you pick up a gun, the next step is, you're liable to shoot somebody.
You're a big man. That's
right. As they used to say in the Old West, the gun is the great equalizer. And so I think a lot of them feel that way. And so to me, there's two words that are the greatest crime prevention tools that I could say of all the things that we do, but there's two words that I think strike to the heart is economic development. If there's a future, a job, or some type of a hope that these individuals can get a job, find a trade, do something, at least these younger kids, if they see their parents working, they see their parents trying to make it or their grandparents, then maybe they can get into that mindset.
If you could wave a magic wand and get all the resources and the support that you needed from the community, and I don't necessarily mean financial.
Mm-hmm.
This year the Black Pages is featuring nonprofit organizations, and I think that's a well-kept secret in a sense, as it relates to many of the resources that are already available to help with many of those items that you just mentioned. But as the sheriff and being in a position to make an appeal to the community, to whatever resources are out there to assist you in making this a safety. And let me say this very quickly. There are a couple of things that we need to get corrected in this community, and I know we're working on them. But I was telling Jessica Walden the other day, they talk about an optimum place to live or the best cities in America. Macon, Georgia could be that city. Mm-hmm. And I think we are pretty close. So if you could solicit, some support and motivate people like you're doing me and get people to act, what would you say to whatever resources that are out there?
I'd say keep doing what you're doing. Don't get discouraged. This incident that happened recently with the 16-year-old, the Little League were debating on whether they wanted to continue, whether they wanted to have their cookout, whether they wanted to continue. Do not be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Keep doing what you're doing. Coordinate efforts. I think a lot of times when you have nonprofits or you have different organizations, there's a little bit of competition. Certainly when you talk about nonprofits, you have competition for your funding sources and things like that. But maybe some cooperation and collaboration across the lines. We have some great organizations. You have Big Brothers Big Sisters, you have the Mentors Project, you have 100 Black Men, you have many organizations that want to do good. First, don't be discouraged by the things that happen. Second, coordinate and make a difference. I think there's some great things. We're on the verge of a lot of good things, but we just need to move that forward. And that economic development piece, that's, it's law enforcement. I know how to police, but I don't know how to lure businesses and jobs to this community. What I want to try to do is keep the crime down, get my people to solve the crimes as quickly so that when someone does look at this community as a place to bring their business or move their family, they're saying, they've had some issues, they're addressing them, they're getting ahead of it. When they do have issues, people are identified and arrested quickly, so they have an effective and efficient law enforcement. So they look at that, and then look at the educational system, and that's another component of it too. So I see some movement on that. So there's a lot of good things out there. You're right, we have the opportunity to be a great city, and so get all these things gelled up, and we have nowhere to go but up.
This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Sheriff David Davis, who has done a phenomenal job of imparting information as it relates to the state of the city, the community. Now, is it Macon-Bibb County Sheriff Department? What's the name of your organization?
It's the Bibb County. It's the Bibb County Sheriff's Office, because sheriffs, we're a constitutional officer like the tax commissioner, probate court. Any of the elected officials are of the county, like clerk of Superior Court,
Right.
Erica Woodford. We are county officers.
Right.
Bibb County, as an entity, still exists.
Okay.
The Macon-Bibb County government is what governs this community, but we are still the Bibb County.
We're
still the Bibb County Sheriff's Office.
Bibb County Sheriff's Office.
But we serve Macon-Bibb. That's what's on our.
You serve everybody.
That's right.
Everybody in the jurisdiction.
That's right.
I want to thank you and congratulate you.
Thank you.
And encourage the community to support you in any way possible and any manner possible. I appreciate your openness.
Thank you.
I appreciate the initiative. I appreciate the implementation, and I appreciate the information. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham. Have a great day. Hi, this is Alex Habersham, your host for A Call to Action. I want to encourage the community to tune in whenever possible to listen to the many dynamic, historical, and educated guests and civic-minded that we have on the show. You could find out the schedule by going to maconscalltoaction.com. I would like to personally encourage everybody to take a minute and just think about the kind of contributions that African Americans are making and have made to our society. Additionally, I encourage you to take a look at the Black Pages, MaconMiddleGeorgiaBlackPages.com, to observe many of the business individuals who are making a contribution to our society. And finally, you can make a difference in our community by supporting those businesses, supporting the community, volunteering in the community, and that way we can make positive history in our community. Hello, this is Alex Habersham, publisher of the Macon-Middle Georgia Black Pages. We've got a sneak preview on www.maconblackpages.com of the 2014 edition. Additionally, coming soon, the Business Consumer Expo of Central Georgia, where we will launch the book, interact with each other, network, and have a great time. Coming soon, the Macon Black Pages Business and Consumer Expo. Be on the lookout for it.